Skinwalker Ranch. The Curse That Devoured a Family. In 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman bought the isolated 500-acre property, drawn to its promise of fresh air and wide-open pastures perfect for raising their prize cattle. But from the moment they set foot on the land, the couple felt uneasy, as if something old and unseen had been waiting for them. What started as a dream ranch soon became their worst nightmare, a place where reality bent, nightmares walked, and something dark hunted them relentlessly. The first encounter, the bulletproof beast. On their first day on the property, the Shermans were greeted by a massive wolf, unnervingly calm as it padded toward them. But this was no ordinary wolf. It stood nearly shoulder-high to Terry, with fur so thick it seemed unnatural. The wolf allowed the family to pet it, acting tame, almost friendly. But then, without warning, it turned and latched onto a calf's head, trying to drag the animal from its pen. Terry grabbed his rifle and fired at point-blank range. But the beast showed no pain, it didn't bleed, it didn't flinch. Terry fired again and again, but the creature refused to die. He shot until chunks of its flesh tore off, but instead of blood, the animal's wounds gave off a strange, rotting stench, as if it had already been dead for a long time. Eventually, the wolf released the calf and retreated into the woods. The family followed its tracks for several miles, but the tracks simply stopped, as if the beast had vanished into thin air. The unseen force stalking the family. After that first day, the land seemed to come alive with a presence, an intelligence that wanted the family gone. Strange, hovering blue orbs appeared frequently, darting through the trees and around their home. These glowing spheres were not just lights, they seemed to hum with malevolence, as if mocking the Shermans. On one occasion, Terry's dogs chased the orbs into the woods and never returned. The next morning, Terry found their bodies reduced to scorched piles of flesh, as if they had been incinerated in an instant. Doors that were locked at night would be found wide open in the morning. Heavy chains and tools moved on their own. Voices whispered from empty rooms, calling the family members by name. Gwen began seeing shadowy figures standing at the edge of her vision, disappearing whenever she turned her head. At night, the family would hear bizarre animal cries, as if creatures unknown to nature roamed the fields. And sometimes, they heard low-frequency hums or mechanical noises emanating from underground, as if some ancient engine had stirred beneath their feet. Cattle mutilations and vanishings. Over time, the Shermans' cattle, their main source of livelihood, began disappearing without a trace. At first, they thought wolves or other predators might be responsible. But what they found was far worse. One day, Terry discovered a prized cow lying lifeless in the field. Its body had been completely drained of blood, with perfectly round incisions carved into its flesh. There were no footprints or signs of struggle, as if the animal had been plucked from the ground, mutilated, and dropped back down without disturbing the dirt around it. On another occasion, Gwen witnessed a cow being lifted off the ground by an invisible force, as if suspended in midair. She stood frozen, horrified, watching it vanish before her eyes, only to find its mutilated remains in a different part of the property later that day. In total, 14 of their cows were either mutilated or went missing entirely during their brief stay at the ranch, costing the family thousands of dollars. But it wasn't just the financial loss, it felt personal, as if the force haunting the land was toying with them, breaking their spirits piece by piece. The time warps and unexplainable phenomena. As the months went on, the very fabric of reality began to shift around the family. They reported moments where time seemed to slow down or speed up. Gwen described one incident when she drove home from work, a journey that normally took 20 minutes, only to arrive and realize that several hours had passed. She had no memory of what had occurred during that time. Another unsettling phenomenon was the appearance of portals or rips in the air. Terry witnessed a strange, glowing doorway appear over the fields at dusk. Through the shimmering, translucent portal, he saw a different landscape, one filled with orange skies and strange creatures walking on all fours. In the blink of an eye, the portal disappeared, leaving Terry wondering if he had lost his mind, or if the ranch was connected to another world entirely. Breaking point, the family's final days on the ranch. The family's sense of safety unraveled. The children refused to sleep in their rooms, terrified by the things they had seen, black shadows crawling on the walls, cold hands tugging at their sheets at night. Gwen and Terry took to sleeping in the same room, keeping rifles close by, though they knew their weapons were useless. They felt constantly watched, like prey under the gaze of a predator too ancient and too intelligent to be fought. Terry's fear deepened when he noticed a black figure lurking at the edge of the property. He described it as humanoid but grotesquely thin, its arms unnaturally long, and its movements impossibly fast. He tried to chase it down one night, but the creature dissolved into the shadows, leaving only a rancid odor behind. By the end of their stay, the Shermans were mentally and emotionally shattered. The land seemed alive with malice, and it was clear that whatever haunted the ranch did not want them there. In 1996, they abandoned their home, selling the property to Robert Bigelow, hoping that they had left the nightmare behind. But Gwen later confessed that even after leaving, the strange dreams and sightings continued, as if the ranch's curse had followed them. The legacy of terror. The events that took place at Skinwalker Ranch remain a haunting mystery to this day. Scientists, UFO enthusiasts, and skeptics continue to debate whether the phenomena are the work of extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, ancient curses, or a mix of all three. But for the Sherman family, the horror was all too real. The ranch took everything from them: peace of mind, livelihood, and any sense of safety. Now, Skinwalker Ranch sits in eerie isolation, guarded by security teams, studied by scientists, and shrouded in secrecy. It is a place that defies understanding, a gateway to the unknown, where fear is not just an emotion, but a presence that clings to your soul and never lets go. A chilling reminder. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more spine-chilling tales, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. After all, a single click might be the only thing standing between you and the next ghostly visitor or lurking werewolf. Stay tuned, stay safe, and whatever you do, keep the lights on. Happy Halloween. Sleep tight if you dare.